All right, we're live in 3, 2, 1. You're tuned to Rust 88.8.
Good evening, or good morning, or good whatever it is where you are. If you know, you know, and if you don't, well, you found us. That's enough. You're tuned in to Rust 88.8 FM. I'm Dusty, and this right here, is my favorite part of the day. There's something about the people who find this station. You're not the type to put something predictable on in the background. You're not half listening while you scroll. You're here, properly here, at this hour, which tells me everything I need to know about you. You're one of us. Now, Rust 88.8. What are we? Good question. Short answer, we're a radio show. Long answer, we're still figuring that out, and honestly, that's half the fun. What I can tell you is that right now, we're deep in history. Not the history they made you memorize in school. Not the dates and the kings and the battles you forgot the moment you handed in the exam paper. The other history. The stories that didn't make the textbooks. The people who were left out of the official version. The moments that actually happened and somehow got lost anyway. Tonight is one of those stories. Two girls, taken as children in colonial America. Same situation, completely opposite endings, and a question at the end of it that I guarantee you have never thought to ask yourself before. No spoilers, you'll see. But before we go there, just know that this is only the beginning of what Rust 88.8 is going to be. History is where we're starting, but there's more coming. A lot more. Different stories, different corners of the world, different reasons to stay up way past the point where sensible people go to bed. For now, though, settle in, get comfortable, turn it up just a little. You're on air with Rust 88.8. Let's go. Right, quick question for you. What's the earliest memory you have? Go on, think about it. Maybe it's a smell, a kitchen, someone's voice, a song perhaps. Now imagine that memory, just gone. Not faded. Not blurry around the edges the way memories get when you're trying to remember where you put your keys. Gone. As in, the person who made that memory no longer exists. And before you say, that sounds like every Monday morning, I'm being serious. This happened. To real people. Hundreds of them. And tonight, on Rust 88.8, I'm going to tell you about two of them. Two girls. Same country, same era, same situation. Completely opposite endings. And by the time we're done, you're going to be sitting there questioning something you have probably never once thought to question in your entire life. What actually makes you, you? Let's set the scene. 1700s, eastern coast of North America. Now when I say powder keg, I mean it in the most literal sense possible. European colonists pushing further and further into land that indigenous peoples had called home for thousands of years. Wars breaking out constantly. Diseases tearing through communities so fast that villages that once held hundreds were reduced to dozens almost overnight. Entire bloodlines, generations of history, on the verge of simply disappearing. So the tribes adapted, because that is what human beings do when their backs are against the wall. They adapt. Raids on colonial settlements weren't just acts of war. They were something far more calculated than that. Captives, particularly children, were taken not as prisoners, not as trophies, but as replacements. Brought into families, given new names, taught new languages, raised as full members of the tribe. It was systematic, deliberate, and remarkably effective. Hundreds of colonists were absorbed this way. Some were traded, some were eventually returned, but many simply became someone else entirely. The ones who came back and wrote about it, their accounts became some of the most widely read publications in all of colonial America. People couldn't get enough. Captivity narratives, they called them. But the ones who wrote those narratives, those were the ones who came back. The ones who didn't, their stories are far stranger. And far more haunting. October 16th, 1755, Penns Creek, Pennsylvania. It starts like any other morning on the frontier. Cold air, wood smoke, the sounds of a family waking up. And then the raid begins. Lenape warriors descend on the settlement with devastating speed. Regina's father, killed. Her brother, killed. And Regina herself, 9 years old, is taken, along with her 12-year-old sister Barbara. They are marched hundreds of miles from everything they have ever known. And then, somewhere along the way, the sisters are separated. Regina is alone. What happens over the next 9 years is genuinely difficult to wrap your head around. She is absorbed into a Native American family. She learns a new language, answers to a new name, and slowly, gradually, she forgets. She forgets German, she forgets English, she forgets the faces of her mother and father. She forgets herself. By the time she is 18 years old, Regina is, in every meaningful sense, a Native American woman. The girl from Penns Creek has not gone into hiding. She has not been suppressed. She has simply ceased to exist. Then, in 1764, Colonel Henry Bouquet defeats a confederation of tribes and negotiates the release of white captives. Hundreds of people are brought to Fort Carlisle in Pennsylvania to be reunited with their families. Reunited, that's the word they used. It is absolutely the wrong word for what actually happens there. Because many of these captives don't recognize the people waiting for them. They don't speak the same language. They don't remember the same faces. They stand in a crowd of weeping strangers calling names that mean nothing to them anymore. Regina's mother is there, searching desperately through the crowd. She walks among the captives for hours, looking at faces, calling a name nobody answers to. And then Colonel Bouquet, bless this man, suggests something rather unusual. He tells her to sing. So she does. An old German hymn she used to sing to her children at night. Allein und doch nicht ganz allein. Alone, yet not alone am I. She sings it into a crowd of strangers. And somewhere in that crowd, a young woman's lips begin to move. The words come back before the memory does. The melody rises from somewhere deeper than language, deeper than identity, deeper than 9 years of becoming someone else entirely. Regina walks toward her mother's voice. She has forgotten her name, her language, her family's faces, but she has not forgotten the song. They hold each other in the middle of that crowd. Two people who are in every practical sense strangers, bound by nothing except a melody that somehow survived everything else being taken away. I'll be honest with you. I've read a lot of history. That one gets me every time. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because if Regina's story made you feel something warm, good, hold on to that. Because Mary Jemison is about to complicate everything. Spring, 1755, a farm in Pennsylvania. Mary is 12 years old. A raiding party of Shawnee warriors attacks her family's home. Her parents, killed. Her siblings, killed. Mary is taken. She is brought to Fort Duquesne, where 2 Seneca women are waiting. They have lost a brother in battle. They need a replacement. They look at Mary and they make a decision. She is given a new name, Degawanis, 2 falling voices. And just like Regina, Mary begins the process of becoming someone else. But here is the difference. Mary never forgets. Not a single thing. She remembers her family. She remembers English. She remembers exactly who she was on the morning before that raid. She just decides, rather firmly, not to go back. When opportunities arise to return to white society, she declines. When people offer to help her escape, she refuses. When she is eventually given the official chance to leave following a military negotiation, she looks at the life waiting for her among the Seneca, her children, her land, her community, and she says, "No thank you." And her reasoning is almost unbearably human. She has children, native children. If she returns to white society, they will be despised, and so will she. The world she came from no longer has a place for the person she has become. So she stays. Mary Jemison lives among the Seneca for the rest of her life. She marries twice, has 8 children, becomes one of the largest landowners in the entire region, survives wars, displacement, and the slow destruction of everything around her. She dies in 1833, 90 years old. Degawanis, two falling voices. She never stopped being Mary Jemison. She just decided that Mary Jemison belonged here now. Two girls, same era, same country, same situation. One forgot everything and was pulled back by a single song. One remembered everything and chose to stay anyway. And here is the question I can't stop thinking about, the one neither of their stories can answer. Which one of them was lost? Regina spent 9 years becoming someone else, and then spent the rest of her life trying to remember who she was before. Mary spent decades knowing exactly who she used to be, and decided that person no longer existed. We talk about identity like it's something fixed, something you're born with, something that waits for you patiently no matter how long you've been gone, like a dog at the front door. Lovely thought, isn't it? But Regina and Mary suggest something far more uncomfortable, that identity isn't something you have, it's something you practice, every single day, until one day you simply are whoever you have been practicing being. And if that's true, who are you, really? And how long would it take to become someone else entirely? This has been Rust 88.8. I'm Dusty. Stay curious, and stay lost, just not too lost.